talks about isolation and so on and so on. Today, I hope we are becoming aware that we have to act in a united, coordinated way. We are all, the entire humanity, we sit in the same boat. The big loser, I think, will be precisely nationalists, racists, and so on, who think our country should isolate itself and so on. Of course, we need quarantines and all that. But for example, take Europe. We should act in a united way, helping each other with respirators, with masks, whatever is needed, and so on and so on. I think that in this sense, we should behave as if we are in the middle of a military operation. We should be, I'm not here appealing to some kind of abstract sense of solidarity. It's even in our egotist interests. If Germany now doesn't help Italy, they will get an even stronger, probably, epidemics and so on and so on. So helping others, solidarity, is something that is demanded from us precisely if we think as rational egotists. It's the time to step together. We should step back and reflect. What is our mode of life? How should we change it? Because we should be aware of one thing. It's not just, let's just go on calmly and in 2-3 months it will be over. Maybe this epidemics will be over. But what will happen in the fall? There are other epidemics, there are other ecological catastrophes, and so on and so on. I think that even when things will hopefully return to normal, it will not be the same normality as the normality in which we lived till now. We will have to change our mode of life.
Well, while many countries are implementing aggressive measures to contain coronavirus, the British government has been sharply criticised over its perceived lack of action. Of particular concern to many people has been the suggestion that authorities will attempt to control the rate at which COVID-19 spreads with a view to developing widespread immunity amongst the population.
In terms of building up a herd immunity within the UK, what sort of percentage of people need to have contracted the virus?
Probably about 60% or so.
In Britain, the number of cases has exceeded 1,300, with 35 people dead. As a result, a petition has been launched calling for schools to be closed across the country. The government has also stated it plans to ban large events after delaying on the decision initially. Additionally, the UK's Health Secretary has said that people aged over 70 could be isolated for up to 4 months. We asked people in London what they think about the government's high-risk approach to tackling the pandemic.
It's probably true if you're taking a long-term view, but I don't think that really describes how we can best protect the most vulnerable people in the population who really can't afford to be affected right now.
Nobody needs to be put at risk for a situation like this.
I can see the argument for doing that, but equally I can also see that in doing so we're going to, cause a lot of people to get that virus who unfortunately won't make it, and that really concerns me.
We've come down today a bit scared of the virus, but we've got to carry on living. But obviously they don't say the virus is at its peak until about 10 weeks' time. So that's when I will get really concerned.
What we don't know yet is full range of data and evidence that we would need to know whether or not we do become immune to this virus. Possibly it's the right strategy, possibly it's the wrong strategy. We don't know, but nobody seems to be giving us all the range of evidence that we would want to hear.
Yeah, some of the reaction in the British capital. Well, Mike Tilsley is an Associate Professor of Infectious Disease Modelling at the UK's University of Warwick. He explained the thinking behind the government's approach.
The idea of herd immunity is that when enough people have been infected by the virus, then the epidemic will eventually die out. Essentially what we're still trying to do is we're trying to control the outbreak. So we're trying to put in interventions that will delay the peak of the epidemic and also reduce the height of the epidemic. At the point that a certain number of people would be infected, then it could no longer infect any more people, because essentially people had all their contacts had been infected, and so it had reduced to a low enough level that the epidemic would die out. There's a risk to, we know that the over 70s and particularly the over 80s, because they may have underlying health conditions, are more at risk. So obviously you want to protect those people in the population, which is why these sorts of measures are being considered. It's really important now that we keep up these good hygiene practices that have been recommended, we keep up the necessary isolation and quarantine policies, and the crucial thing here is to reduce the demands on the health service, to make sure that those people that really do need hospital care have access to it.
Across the Atlantic from there in the US.